biggest threat to the biodiversity currently is agriculture, and how it is affecting the biodiversity is that it's clearing out the lands and they're just leaving out that the larger patches are being converted into the smaller patches or the linear strips. By clearing out the land, you're actually clearing out the important structures that could be used for the animals. So some reptiles are habitat specialists. They are dependent on certain type of grasses to survive in. And spinifex is one of those grasses that they majorly need to in the environment. So by clearing the lands out, you're definitely reducing the population of the spinifex grass. And this is what we are looking at. So currently the area I'm working in has a massive agriculture going on, and we particularly selected the linear strips for the reason that we could look at how the spinifex condition is currently surviving in these linear strips. So we got sites with the good spinifex and with the bad spinifex, and this pitfall trapping will tell us that how the reptiles are actually responding to this different gradients of spinifex around the linear strips.
So spinifex is a spiky grass that's found across something like 25% of the Australian continent, so it's a huge part of Australian ecosystems, and it grows in big clumps or hummocks which grow out in sort of a dome, but then when they get a lot older they're more of a donut shape. And these spinifex clumps are really important because they can provide habitat for a range of animal species like small mammals and reptiles, and that's either by providing protection from the elements or providing a safe place where animals can escape to from predators, or even by providing food resources through the insects that live within the plant as well.
You would always recommend the farmers to leave as much as a forest patch as possible, and land clearing is never, it's not acceptable when it comes to the biodiversity conservation. But yeah, you could always educate them what kind of structures are important for these animals, but first you have to educate them why these animals are important. And when it comes to farmers, they are definitely interested in knowing what's useful for them as well. So you can't say that we need to save reptiles, we need to conserve them, but you also have to tell them why it's important for them. So being an international student, I feel like I'm at the right spot to do some work on the reptiles, because Australia it's like a hub and a hotspot for reptiles. We've got enormous numbers of reptiles, beautiful species, and if you compare it with the other countries, I think Australia is way better in treating the reptiles. They realize the importance of reptiles. Yes, there are still some gaps. You need to educate the people of how important they are for the ecosystem, apart from keeping them as the pets, how they're actually serving in the natural landscapes. So Australia is doing good so far, but we still need to meet some goals at this stage, and we still need to spread more awareness of how we can help and how we can play a role in sustaining their population in the environment.
So it's really important that we work with farmers to conserve the land and biodiversity, because they live on the land and they know the land, and some of these areas contain really important threatened plants and animals. And obviously we're always going to need farmland to feed the human population, so it's important that we strike that balance between obviously food production and conserving biodiversity, and we can definitely have both of them if we do it right.